There is no sweeter corn than the corn of Zellwood, Florida, as celebrated each year with the Zellwood Corn Festival. Multitasking with your oven to create this recipe allows for energy and time-saving steps. I'm Chef Jeannie Pierola. I'm a 5-time James Beard semifinalist and executive chef and owner of several award-winning restaurant concepts. Now I want to share some simple cooking techniques that will make you a better home cook and walk you through some delicious recipes that are sure to impress. This is Flavored by Flame. Hey everybody, I'm super excited to make a corn chowder today featuring Littleneck clams from Riverview, Florida. The really cool thing about this chowder is where the corn comes from. This is Zellwood corn. There's 2 Zellwood corn seasons in Florida. Of course, corn is almost always readily available, but if you can get your hands on some Zellwood corn, it's the sweetest corn you can ever find in Florida. First step in this recipe is to roast your corn. I take the corn, husk and all, and I throw it in the oven 350 degrees for about 25 minutes, and it comes out perfectly roasted. After we start the corn roasting, we want to make a corn cream. So all the cobs that we previously roasted, cut all the corn off for the chowder. We cut them in half and we just put them in a pot. Very simple and creates tremendous depth of flavor. And why waste the product? You've got the corn cob. We cover it with a quart of milk, about 4 cups, and a pint of heavy cream, roughly 2 cups. Thyme, bay leaf, and you just bring it to a boil and then drop it to a simmer for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to strain it, and that's going to become the base for the chowder. While my corn cream is simmering to make the base for my chowder, I'm going to make the best part of the chowder, the fritter that goes with it. About a cup of corn that I cut off those cobs that I roasted. About a cup of flour, teaspoon of baking powder, a nice big pinch of salt. We also use a little blackening seasoning just to bring out some spicy elements and kind of have a backdrop to the sweetness of the corn. So we're about 2 teaspoons of that. A touch of garlic, about a teaspoon. Some melted butter. 1/4 cup of buttermilk, and a couple eggs. I always crack my eggs on a flat surface. I don't want to risk any shells going into what I'm making, and it's just an easier way for me to control the egg. And I'm just going to bring them together, folding them and getting a light batter. I'm going to let this rest while I start my chowder. So my corn cream is simmering. It's been about 30 minutes. It's almost ready. Beauty of a gas stove. You can turn down the eye nice and tight and small and just let something simmer and percolate away, and that's how you develop great flavor. Additionally, you know, they tell you to match the pot to the size of the eye. Sometimes that'll help you in getting a pot up and running. Really pay attention to the details when you're doing that, because it enables you to cook so much more efficiently. To that end, we're going to start our new pot for our chowder. I'm going to bring it on to a medium high. See how fast that starts? And it's ready to go. Look at the heat already. Ready to go. Only gas does that. I'm going to start rendering my bacon because this is the foundation of my chowder. Once I get that to render out, I get a little fat coming out of it, I'm going to come with my aromatics. I'm about ready to strain my cream. Once I get this started, this will be going in there to finish that, and we're going to end up with a killer chowder. You may notice how I've cut the bacon. It's cut into lardons, and the reason we do that is because we want to end up with perfect little bits that finish the chowder. It's a fancy term for kind of bacon bits, but big bacon bits. So now that I got my bacon smoking and going, getting nice and crisp, what you want to end up with is a crispy little bit, because that's what we add back in the chowder, and it actually brings some texture. Because you're going to have the sweet pop of corn, the sweet, tender pop of a clam, and then you're going to have the crunch of bacon, and that's when you end up knowing that's a robust chowder. I'm turning this down now to add my aromatics and into the bacon fat. I'm going to add the aromatics, but I'm going to pull out my bacon in order to drain it. So my bacon's super brown and crisp. Just going to pull it out so I can drain it. Looks perfect. Pan is still on low. Onions, bell peppers, garlic and shallots. All of the vegetables have been brunoised, cut very small, because in a chowder, you want all those vegetables to be uniform, makes for a great mouthfeel, and it also seasons the chowder better. As everything starts to wilt, you see how tender it's starting to look, a little clear, a little translucent. That's when we want to add our clams in. And these are Littleneck clams, sweet, sweet Littleneck clams. You kind of want to toss them through the aromatics. Clams open and cook very quickly. All my roast corn into the bowl. Now I'm going to add some white wine. You can see my clams are starting to open. About a quarter cup, half a cup of white wine. Now I'm going to strain my cream into my chowder. I want to strain it because I don't want the cobs or the thyme or the bay leaf into my chowder. Now it's time to let this simmer. Maybe I'll season it a little bit. And then we use a little bit of Espelette pepper. It's a lot like a cayenne pepper. It's a little bit more flavorful. It's got a lot more pop to it. You can certainly use your own type of pepper, whatever you prefer, but we just use a touch of Espelette, and it is kind of smoky, not even a teaspoon. I'm going to let it simmer until the clams pop open. You can see some of them are popping open. You got to really keep your eye on it, because as soon as it opens, you're pretty much ready to eat. While my chowder is simmering and I'm waiting for those clams to pop, I'm going to fry my fritters. So I have my fryer on, it's 375 degrees. You really want to watch that oil. Don't forget how fast gas does cook. You're going to have to regulate it and pay attention to it. A way to do that is to use a temperature gauge, but right now we're at 375 degrees, ready to fry. So you can use an ice cream scooper. I use 2 spoons. It's such a casual dish. I kind of want a loose feel for these fritters. So it's a simple little drop method. What we're looking for is something crunchy and sweet on the side of this very savory chowder. Most importantly, keep watching your temperature. I have my drain ready. I've got my salt ready, because the minute you pull something out of the oil, you want to season it. That's how you get the best flavor, right when it's hot, because the heat will actually draw in the salt and season it completely. So they're going to take 3 to 4 minutes aside, the fritters. You really want to watch for that golden brown, delicious color everybody talks about. We're almost there. We've been going about 2.5 minutes. And when you turn, you want to turn away from yourself so you don't splash things towards you. So it's always nice to turn away instead of towards yourself. We're getting ready. It's almost time to plate. I'm going to check my chowder. Haven't checked my seasonings. Something I want to do. You can always adjust with salt, with acid. It's actually seasoned perfectly, but I'm going to add a touch of champagne vinegar. Again, it's just a seasoning element. You just want to touch. It just fills and rounds out your palate when you do that. When you balance a little bit of acid and salt, you get a much fuller, robust palate. It looks like my fritters are awesome. I'm going to turn my fryer off. I'm not going to do any more. If I was going to do more, I'd keep on going. Let's see how they look. They all look perfectly golden brown. Try and drain off as much oil. Again, I did turn off the burner before I start removing things. And then right when you get it out, just a little touch of salt. We're ready to plate. Here are the lardons, the bacon lardons I made earlier. I have a little shaved scallion on the bias and a little micro herbs just to punch up the herbaceousness. So I'm looking for open clams. If you have some clams that aren't open, might not be a great idea to skip those. Throw them away. If they don't open, they might not be so great. We're going to hit it with a little scallion. We're going to side these fritters on the side, these little crispy bad boys to go with this chowder. When you add the fritter, it becomes a whole meal. And then, of course, I'm going to finish it with my lardons. For some crispy texture, I like a little piece in each clam. So continuing our celebration of Florida and the wonderful, sweetest corn in the world from Zellwood, Florida. This is our Zellwood corn chowder with Littleneck clams and corn fritters. I hope you'll try this recipe. It's really delicious. And with the fritters on the side, it's a full meal. You need nothing else, and you'll be so satisfied. Enjoy. For more information about energy-efficient natural gas and available appliance rebates, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.